My name is Onola Fatoba, and I remain my brother's keeper. Remember, you're not alone. Hello, and welcome to the pilot episode of the podcast, Brother's Keeper. I'm your brother. My name is Onola Fatoba, and today we are setting the stage with a conversation that is at the very heart of my mission on this podcast, and that is redefining masculinity and its profound impact on mental health. So, before we begin, please leave a comment below, like, subscribe, and share, as the pro YouTubers say. Oh, by the way, this is my first podcast episode, and I hope you enjoy. So, let's get into it. So, picture this: a young man in his 20s, out of his parents' house. Maybe he just finished university education and he's trying to make something meaningful of himself. There's that pressure. It's unspoken, but it's true. It's there. There's that pressure to be tough, stoic, successful, and the only thing that this young man has to go on is words of advice from older men who in their own days too were inexperienced, but somehow managed, to man their way through life and get to a certain or a meaningful point. So that's the only thing that this young man has, and his guts, of course. And he never really gets to, this young man never really gets to talk about the darkness that he has to go through, the confusion that he's riddled with, the loss of identity, the loss of, the process of self-awareness, the process of self-discovery, the pain, the suffering, the doubts, all the things that makes you a man in life. Those elements of life that kind of, throw you in the grinder and turn you around until you become something refined. Men don't get to talk about it. They just soldier up and man their way through it till the very end. Now, this cycle has been passed on from generation to generation to generation to generation. Some of the trials and things that my dad had to go through in life, I had the opportunity to hear from him when I spent time with him together, when we spent time together. And there are things that even my mom, as his wife, doesn't know about. Why? Because he feels like speaking about it makes him less of a man. So he then passes it on to me as teachings and experience that, oh, this will happen to you, oh, this happened to me, this was how I got through it. And when I ask, why are you telling me this? He'll tell me, you need to know. No one is going to tell you. You will find out by yourself. So it is my job to prepare you for that time, for that stage, for that phase. God rest his soul. These are the things that men go through, and they don't speak up because it makes them less of a man. The society just expects you to pick up your stuff and soldier on, keep going forward. That's fine. It's fine. If it works for you, it's fine. Click the back button on this video and don't watch it anymore. But I can tell you something. If it keeps building up and building up and building up inside of you, it's going to come one day. You're just going to erupt and become irredeemable, emotionally, psychologically, mentally. But you see, times are changing. And we need to start having conversations around these topics that men are forbidden to speak about. We need to start talking about it. That is the mission of this channel, and that is why it is called Brother's Keeper. Now, we're going to explore vulnerability and masculinity. In today's world, you can't put both in a sentence. Why? You can't be a masculine man and be vulnerable. Mind you, vulnerability isn't actually weakness. It isn't a show of weakness. It is a state of the mind. But the world we live in today has termed vulnerability as utter weakness, and unacceptable. So, let's begin to peel back some layers of masculinity myths, and then we'll discuss how these stereotypes can contribute to mental health challenges amongst men. It's time to question the notion that vulnerability is a sign of weakness. Vulnerability in today's world is a word that carries a lot of weight and complexity. Now, what if I told you vulnerability isn't a show of weakness? It's actually a transformative act, and it's a precise measure of your courage as a person. Look, you could either choose to learn or to lose. Either way, the choice is yours. Now, when you choose to be vulnerable, it opens you up to life-changing, mind-altering experiences that adds color, meaning, purpose to your life. The science of vulnerability is pretty straightforward. You could either choose to, bottle up your feelings and emotions and just lock them inside and man up and all the way to the end. And, somewhere along the line, you're going to turn to habits and vices that, that are deleterious and counterproductive. And before you know it, you're so into those habits and vices that you do not even see the self-destructive pattern that you have put in place. And if this pattern is left unchecked, all hell is going to break loose. The gravitational force of these destructive vices and habits is going to grow so strong that it's going to pull you down into a very dark hole, psychologically, emotionally, physically, all aspects of Kali or Li that you can find. That if you're not even self-aware, if you're not awake in your head, it's going to destroy you on levels that are unimaginable. It's going to destroy every meaningful relationship you can think of, every opportunity that you could explore to be successful. So now you're thinking of consistent alcohol consumption, just to escape the pain. Smoking becomes your go-to place to, deal with it. Gambling and all sorts of vices that, if left unchecked, no judgments. But you see, if you choose to speak up, let people into your feelings, talk about what exactly is disturbing you in your head, make people understand things that you can't accept and things that you'd rather deal with. It's not only going to lift the burden off your shoulders, it's also going to give you certain elements like value and respect, so people know that for you this is unacceptable, for you this is a core value, for you you'd stand by this and do this, and you'd speak up. You become someone that is respected for speaking up. And not only that, you'll be able to narrow down the source of the problem exactly and address it accordingly. That, my brother, is the power of vulnerability. I'm going to read you a quote from Brian Tony Ogola, and it's from a material he wrote online. It's titled "Unmasking Men Hidden Emotions." I quote, "One of the cultural myths in the community is that men's emotions are taboo subjects of discourse. And this cuts across cultures, backgrounds, color, and religion. From time immemorial, men have been best described as emotionless creatures. And this is because of the environment that male adolescents are socialized. Therefore, this affects their ability to deal with feelings, which have been systematically suppressed over time. This practice has toughened, quote unquote, in his quote, toughened up young men from a tender age to mask any expression of pain and frustration. Hence, leads them to suffer in silence. So, society has constructed systematic walls around men's emotional expressions, and we need to start thinking outside those walls. Otherwise, masculinity might just become so irredeemable that it gets to a point where it could get lost, and we'll be unable to define what a man should be in today's society and the coming society. It starts when we're kids and they tell us you can't cry, you can't shed tears as a boy. And annoyingly, you can't even ask why, because they tell you straight up, you can't shed tears, you're a boy, you're a man, you can't cry, men don't cry. And you realize that when God created you, created every human being, He gave us the ability to shed tears. And I kid you not, tears has a scientific significance. Like, it's actually therapeutic. Scientifically, it's therapeutic. I'm not saying you go around and cry at every unfortunate situation, no. But when it gets to that point where you can't take it anymore and it's all just locked up inside, there's no one to talk to, there's no one wants to listen, nobody even cares. Nobody cares what you're going through. You just have to go through it, deal with it, and get through to the very end. Why not lock yourself in your bathroom and cry it out? Because, society sees a man shedding tears as a sign of weakness. So don't shed tears in front of you. Go in your bathroom and cry. I've done it, and it helps. It clears my head, it clears my feelings, it gets me calm. Then I can start thinking forward. So if you ever come to that point where it's all just messed up and you feel like there's no redemption, find a corner, sit, cry, knock yourself down and pick yourself back up and get going. Now, before you do that, take note of how you were feeling. Even if you have to write it down, take note of how you were feeling before you started crying or before you did something to let out those emotions. And take note of your feelings after. Then try to put both on a scale and see what really works for you, how it has helped you. See the pattern of your growth. And it's not actually about just crying. It's about understanding your emotions, letting out your feelings, speaking up, understanding the problem, and thinking of a way forward. We need to start picking up these topics and discussing them one at a time. Look, if we envision a society where masculinity is not defined by the systematic walls of the society, we're going to encourage emotional literacy, we're going to encourage forward thinking men, we're going to encourage strong men emotionally, physically, mentally, financially, socially, any kind of lead that you can find. And of course, authenticity. So, my dear brother, where do we go from here? What's the first step? What's the next step? What do we do now? Let's start by discussing certain masculinity myths that, if we take them out of the picture, we're going to foster a more emotionally inclusive society for men. We're going to have less suicide rates amongst men. We're going to have less ex-con fathers and runaway fathers. We're going to have a more compassionate society of young men who understand emotional intelligence. It has countless benefits that ensures the continuation of humanity and the society in general. So the very first thing to do is to educate yourself. Do your research. Learn about the dangerous aspects of masculinity in today's world that are dangerous to your mental health. Look, your peace is priority. Peace, progress, and prosperity. That's the mantra. Peace, progress and prosperity. If you don't have peace, you can't strategize to progress. If you don't progress, there's no prosperity. So it's peace, progress, and prosperity. So find out these masculine ideas in today's world that endangers your mental health and the stability of your emotions and your mentality. Take them out of the picture and move forward. You also need to ask questions, reflect on these ideas and where they come from and how they affect you. What's their impact? What value do these ideas add to your life emotionally, psychologically, physically? We need to promote emotional expression amongst men. You may not like the idea, but it's the pure truth. And I'll tell you why. When men speak up, they get help, they understand the problem, and they move forward. Or you see, when you don't speak up, when you bottle it up inside and deal with it alone, you suffer in silence. And no one has gotten anywhere good by suffering alone in silence. So we need to encourage emotional expression amongst men. Another step is to be a role model and encourage healthy relationship. Now, let's start talking about challenging peer pressure, which I believe is like one of the core issues that men need to address into this world. Don't let the world get to you. Don't let the pressure of social media, don't let the glam lifestyle, the have it all together vibe, the doing well on Instagram and Twitter and social media get into your head. Look, we're all running races here. We're all running our races. You're not in competition with anyone but yourself. If you say you're running a race, if you say someone is ahead of you, it simply means both of you are on the same track, you're doing the same thing, you're going to the same place, and that is not true. Look, all human beings, no two human beings have the same fingerprint, which means spiritually, no two people have the same destiny. As many as we are in the world, I think there's about 8 billion people now, and I can tell you for a fact, no two people are meant to do the same thing in terms of purpose and meaning of life. So you need to shut out that noise of, oh, this person is doing better than I am. Look, if you have a vision of where you want to be, where you're going, what you want to do with your life, picture it in your head and start walking towards it. Start walking and walking, like literally walking and walking towards that goal in your life. It's not going to get all rosy. It's not going to get all smooth. You can't enjoy the end benefits from the beginning. You have to walk. Like the universe will test you. The universe will ask you, do you want these things that you say you want? How do you intend to get them? Or how do you intend to keep them when I give them to you? That's if the universe is saying, oh, okay, you want to be a billionaire, fine. Are you ready to go through the process of being a billionaire? Are you going to be able to keep your billions when the universe gives you these billions? Are you mentally strong enough to do the things that you need to get done to become a billionaire? Those are the things that you should focus on, not peer pressure and the pressure of, oh, this person is better than me, this person has it all together, oh, this person just did 2 masters and graduated. Nah, you don't need all that. What you need is yourself, your guts, and your purpose. You are good to go. We also need to redefine the term success. When you see somebody successful, what does it mean? Is it by number of houses he has built, the money he has in his bank accounts, how many degrees he has? No. For me, my definition of success, and I'm going to share it with you, is setting a goal and achieving that goal. Picturing something in your mind that you want, that you feel is a value to your life, adds value to your life, makes you a valuable person in the society, makes you a responsible citizen, makes you someone people want to, sort out and have relationships with. Set that goal and work towards it. Achieve that goal. That for me is the definition of success. It's not about, oh, he has money. Yeah, you could be financially successful. Financial success is a given. You have to be financially successful because What then are you working for? What then are you doing with your life? What then are you working towards? So financial success is a given, but not everybody's going to be on the same level. Not everybody's going to be billionaires. Not everybody's going to be Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates. No. You have to work for what you want. That's one. No one is going to argue. No one is. You have to work for what you want, what you desire. You have to push for it. You have to fight for it. Those are the battles that makes a man. So I believe success shouldn't be measured by, oh, does he have a car? Has he built his home? Has he built his own house? How many degrees does he have? Does he run the world's most successful business? Success should be defined by the measure of your value. How much value can you add to your society, to the next person? That is what success should be. The least successful person in an ideal society should be someone who is useful to the progress of that society. It shouldn't be about, oh, he's stinkingly rich, oh, he has billions in his account, oh, he can walk into any room and all the women will just turn and, oh my God, oh. No, it shouldn't be about that. Also, we need to promote self-care and support mental health awareness amongst men. Look, you shouldn't look like what you're going through as a man. Trust me. You should take care of yourself. You should you should be fit. You need to be sound in your mind. And if your body is lost, your mind is going to be lost. So you need to be fit, you need to be sound. It's important. So the machine in your head, the machine in your body, your system keeps going, and it's grounded in a way that whatever is going to shake you is going to be something that is unimaginable, so to speak of. Addressing toxic behavior is another part of it. We need to seek out all these habits and behaviors that don't really help us and are toxic in element. We need to root them out and just leave them behind. We also need to advocate for policy change in places of work, in communities, clubs, social gatherings. Policies that, are gender bias or double standard-ish, they need to be addressed. They need to be taken out. We also need to start talking about how the workplace takes care of a man. Women get maternity leave. Fine. We're not men. I'm not saying we want paternity leave too. But, a man is human, not a machine. He's not a robot. There'll come a time where if you're working a 9 to 5, they're going to tell you can only take, I think, maybe 2 months of holiday to yourself, if it's that much, and you're going to be working for the rest of the year. That's 10 months. So we need to find incentives and benefits that helps the mental health of men. Not just, oh, you've done well in this quarter, yeah, take 2 weeks off. Yeah, take 2 weeks off, yeah. But then why not have a men's conference where men come together and talk about the challenges they're facing at work and how they want to move forward about it. These are topics, these are things that we need to start having serious conversations and implementations on. That way, we're going to have a society of men that are awake, that are aware, that are enlightened, that are forward thinking. We're not just going to have men who beat women. True, women can be women, but a real man will never, ever, ever, ever lay his hands on a woman and say, oh, it's arguable if the woman deserves it or not, fine. But it is improper, it is unacceptable for a man to say, oh, because you have done this and it has provoked me, it has aroused me emotionally, you deserve. I believe it's a low level of emotional intelligence in men that leads to men who are violent against women. That's my opinion about it. So we're going to have less bullies in the society, in the home, in the office. We're going to have men that are self-aware, that are conscious of their purpose and where they are in life. And nothing beats a society that is progressive. Now, this journey of challenging masculinity myths and redefining vulnerability it's not going to be a one-off conversation. It's not going to be something that happens just overnight. It's going to be a process of continuous work. It's going to demand courage and the mental fortitude to even start having these conversations. The courage to speak up and say, oh, this is how I'm feeling, this is how this makes me feel, and this is how I believe we should address it and move forward. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. By doing all these things, we can contribute to dismantling toxic myths that are anti-progressive, and work towards a mentally stable future. let me put it that way. A mentally stable future, a mentally stable society of men. So thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk. I'm making it this far in this video. I hope I've been able to share some meaningful information as to how to address toxic masculinity in today's society, and I believe if we take these steps towards mental awareness and stable mental health, especially for men. Look, I cannot stress this enough. Men's mental health is more. It's like it gets worse by the day. Nobody cares. That's just it. Nobody cares. Everybody just moves on. Nobody cares about how you feel. I've said this before, and I know it feels like ranting, but I'm quite passionate about this. I believe that men need to speak up more. Men need to be listened to. Men need to be heard. They need to have a say about their feelings. Society shouldn't be the one telling us, oh, no, this is what you can say. Oh, no, this is what you can do. Oh, this is what you shouldn't do. No, it kills you inside as a man. You're just dead inside. You're just a living corpse, walking and going about life. So, before I continue to rant and go off point, I'd like to say thank you very much for making it this far once again. And my name is still Onola Fatoba. And remember, vulnerability isn't a show of weakness. It's a courageous act, and it's a sign of emotional intelligence. And I feel the more conversations we have around these forbidden topics, the better for our mental health as men. So that's a wrap for today's episode, and I'm pretty excited to do this again. And please remember to leave a comment, share your opinions. It's a community. You're welcome. Let's hear you out. What do you have to say? What do you think about this topic? Where do you think this will lead? What do you think the challenges will be? Where do you think we can start addressing it from, apart from just having the conversations? And like, share, subscribe, because I'm definitely going to do this again. I'll drop the next episode soon. And thank you so much for watching. See you on the next one. My name is Onola Fatoba, and I remain my brother's keeper. Remember, you're not alone.